See, the Democrats are extremely smart. While everybody's been so caught up in the whole list with Jeffrey Epelator, and if you don't know who Jeffrey Epelator is, when I say that, he's the gentleman that they found unalived in his cell. His name rhymes with Mexstein, but I don't say that name because YouTube will zing you. So I call him Jeffrey Epelator. But the Democrats has everybody spun around talking about this whole Epelator list and got people looking at Pound Bondi crazy, looking at Kash Patel crazy. All the while, they kept people distracted over here so they're not paying attention what's happening over here. You see, right now what's happening is James Comey, the former director of the FBI, and John Brennan, the former director of the CIA, are both right now under the fire. And what are they under the fire for? For the Russia hoax that they tried to pull against President Trump at the end of his first term. The hoax that actually cost him, allegedly, the 2020 election. If you believe the things that we saw were what happened with way it swayed the public opinion and the Hunter Biden laptop that the 51 intelligence agents all said was Russia collusion and that it was fake. Now, fast forward it to 2025, and what do we know? It was 100% real. It was in FBI's possession since 2019. They knew it was real. They had already authenticated it. But these individuals, these highly regarded individuals that all had security clearance, high-level, top-notch security clearance, leveraged that security clearance and their credibility to spin a lie to bite them. So in this video, I'm going to show you some video clips and some information that will blow your mind about these two individuals and just how deeply intertwined the Clintons and the Obamas always are in the BS and the mess, especially when it pertains to President Trump. See, Obama, I would like to consider him one of the most Machiavellian politicians we probably ever had. He was charismatic, had the look. He had more swag than any president we ever had before. That's how he was able to captivate not only the black community, but the white community. You don't win by the margins that Obama did with just support from any one class. But how did he do that? With that big toothpaste, that Kool-Aid smile that he put on, and that slick voice. He'll shoot a jumper if you needed to. He'll talk slick, but then he'll get really articulate when he needed. The whole while, he was the most disruptive president we've ever had. He brought the gauntlet down and helped bring race division back. He also brought back distrust in our police system. And remember now, Obama was a member of a church, like the radical pastor Jeremiah Wright, who's the same one that said GD America and preaches that socialist ideology that most of these Harvard and Ivy League people seem to adapt somewhere. But I'm going to get back into James Comey and John Brennan. Now, in case you forgot and you don't know who James Comey is, I'll reintroduce you to him. This individual here.
Oh, and there's he's become more famous than me.
That's James Comey. Now, what's really crazy about this image that you're seeing on your screen is that at the time when James Comey was going to shake President Trump's hand, at this very moment, the Russia collusion and the hoax was already in the fix. Because this is when President Trump is getting ready to leave office. And this man is already working with the Clintons, allegedly, to get the hoax going. And remember, this is the same person who was put out to investigate Hillary Clinton's emails. The 33,000 emails that she was using a private server to send and receive, which is against all rules. It is illegal for her to have done that. Then when it was subpoenaed, because it was the whole Syria thing going on in Benghazi and the investigations were happening to see what was the cause, what did we know, how did American service members lose their lives, who was at fault. And when they subpoenaed her computer, the hard drives were bleached and destroyed. Wiped totally clean, destroying evidence. And this individual, James Comey, came out and said, yeah, it happened, but we don't think she did it intentionally. We don't believe the Secretary of State and the former First Lady intentionally destroyed multiple hard drives, had them bleached and literally bashed up, tore up, and destroyed, and the 33,000 emails deleted. We don't believe she did that on purpose, so we're going to let her walk with that. This individual, this is the same individual whose daughter was just prosecuting the Diddy trial, in which Diddy just walked from the harshest charges that he had when everybody was wondering what's going on with the prosecution. Why aren't they bringing the hammer? They've got him with weapons with the serial numbers crossed off. That's a felony right there. They've got all types of other evidence, these alleged tapes and all of these celebrities involved, but yet they dropped the ball and they got him on the same charge that a pimp would get. And ironically, that is James Comey's daughter. But this is James Comey. President Trump had no idea the knife was going in his back right there. And now let's listen to what the current FBI director, Kash Patel, has to say about the former FBI director, James Comey.
The FBI is bigger than any leader it's ever had or ever will have. And James Comey is a private citizen, and he can walk around the beach and talk about seashells and Crayola crayons for all I care about, and talk about how we're the conspiracy theorists. But I just remind the American people of one thing. When that man was a leader of the FBI, he perpetrated the largest criminal conspiracy, packaged political information from overseas, took it to a federal FISA court, and illegally surveilled a political opponent. So I won't be lectured on how to run this FBI from that man.
Wow. Now you heard that one. Now that's James Comey. Now let's talk about, let me introduce you to John Brennan. This is John Brennan, the former CIA director, and also one of the 51 intelligence agents that signed off that Hunter Biden's laptop was fake. Now this right here is Matt Gaetz, the former congressman from Florida. Check this out. If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit the thumbs up, because one thing I'll never do is ask you for a Cash App or a Super Chat. But you hitting that like button, it helps spread the information out to new people. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And whether you're subscribing right now or you're already subscribed, make sure that you hit the notification bell and select all. YouTube hasn't been sending out the notifications unless you have all selected. So make sure you turn on notification and hit all. That way you'll be notified when I upload new videos.
So assess how strong the case against deep state tycoon John Brennan is. The year was 2023, and as a congressman on the weaponization subcommittee, I was taking a behind closed doors deposition of John Brennan. The topic was his leadership of a letter characterizing the Hunter Biden laptop story as Russian disinformation. By 2023, we all knew that Hunter's laptop was real. It wasn't Russian disinformation. It was left by Hunter at a computer repair shop. So at the time, we were investigating how a group of over 50 former intelligence officials were leveraging the imprimatur of their security clearances, their access to classified information, to lie to the American people about the Hunter laptop. I asked Brennan how he assessed wrongly that the laptop had all the earmarks of Russian disinformation. I asked him to list his bases for making this false claim. He made a huge mistake in the answer. He said, quote, "I tapped into my understanding and my knowledge of Russian counterintelligence activities and influence operations and made a determination at the time when I was asked to sign the letter whether or not I would agree to sign it, which I did." Once this response was provided, all of Brennan's experience assessing the tradecraft of Russian intelligence was relevant and material to his testimony and the work of Congress. He opened the door. Well, what Russian intelligence operation do you think I wanted to discuss most? The Steele dossier, of course. The Steele dossier was assembled by a foreign spy and from subsources that were directly connected to Russian intelligence. The dossier was worked into the highest levels of the FBI through Bruce and Nellie Orr. James Comey and Rod Rosenstein even used the dossier to secretly and illegally spy on President Trump's campaign 3 times. The FBI at this time was all in on creating credibility around the false Russian intel-inspired dossier. They even leaked components of the false dossier to Michael Isikoff and then used those leaks before secret courts to justify their illegal surveillance.
So as you see, this is who John Brennan and this is who James Comey are. And so let's get back to the article where it talks about what's going on with them right now. So as you see, FBI launches criminal investigations of John Brennan, James Comey, DOJ sources. CIA Director John Ratcliffe, so this isn't a Pam Bondi thing. CIA Director John Ratcliffe referred Brennan for criminal investigation to the FBI, sources told Fox News Digital. Former CIA Director John Brennan and former FBI Director James Comey are under criminal investigation for potential wrongdoing related to the Trump-Russia probe, including allegedly making false statements to Congress, Justice Department sources told Fox News Digital. CIA Director John Ratliff referred evidence of wrongdoing by Brennan to FBI Director Kash Patel for potential prosecution, DOJ sources told Fox News Digital. The sources said that the referral was received and told Fox News Digital that a criminal investigation into Brennan was open and underway. DOJ sources declined to provide further details. It is unclear at this point if the investigation spans beyond his alleged false statements to Congress. As for Comey, DOJ sources told Fox News Digital that an investigation into the former director is underway, but could not share details of what specifically is being probed. There's Brennan, there's Comey. The full scope of the criminal investigations into Brennan and Comey is unclear, but two sources describe the FBI's view of the duo's interaction as a conspiracy, which could open up a wide range of potential prosecution options, or potential prosecutorial options. The FBI and CIA declined to comment. Neither Brennan nor Comey immediately responded to Fox News Digital's request for comment. The Brennan investigation comes after Ratliff last week declassified a lessons learned review of the creation of the 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment, the ICA. The 2017 ICA alleged Russia sought to influence the 2016 presidential election to help then candidate Donald Trump. But the review found that the process of the ICA's creation was rushed with procedural anomalies and that officials diverted from intelligence standards, meaning they used all types of wacky tactics that were outside of the agency norms. It is also determined that the decision by agency heads to include the Steele dossier in the ICA ran counter to fundamental tradecraft principles and ultimately undermined the credibility of a key judgment. So by throwing that dossier in, they totally undermined the credibility because it was fake. The dossier, an anti-Trump document filled with unverified and wholly inaccurate claims that was commissioned by Fusion GPS and paid for by Democrat presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC, has been widely discredited. Wow. Paid for by Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC. Oh, these people so happy they starting to get the wheels rolling. Last week's review marks the first time career CIA officials have acknowledged politicization of the process by which the ICA was written, particularly by Obama-era political appointees. Records declassified as part of that review further reveal that Brennan did, in fact, push for the dossier to be included in the 2017 ICA. Brennan testified to the House Judiciary Committee in May 2023, however, that he did not believe the dossier should be included in that intelligence product. So in 2017, he felt it should be, but in 2023, all of a sudden he had an epiphany that it shouldn't have been, but it was. But the fact that it didn't work, then he's saying that it shouldn't have been. I hope that made sense to you listening to that. Ratliff was not surprised by the review's finding, a source familiar to told Fox News Digital. Given the director's long history of criticizing Brennan's politicization of intelligence, but Ratliff was compelled to refer aspects of Brennan's involvement to the FBI for review of possible criminality, the source said. The source was unable to share the sensitive details of Ratliff's criminal referral to the FBI with Fox News Digital, but said that Brennan violated the public's trust and should be held accountable for it. The false statements portion of the probe stems from a newly declassified email sent to Brennan by the former deputy CIA director in December 2016. That message said, including the dossier in the ICA in any capacity, jeopardized the credibility of the entire paper. So he was even warned and advised. Despite these objections, Brennan showed a preference for narrative consistency over analytical soundness. The new CIA review states, when confronted with specific laws in the dossier by the two mission center leaders, one with extensive operational experience and the other with a strong analytical background, he appeared more swayed by the dossier's general conformity with existing theories than by legitimate tradecraft concerns. The review added, Brennan ultimately formalized his position in writing, stating that my bottom line is that I believe that the information warrants inclusion in the report. But Brennan testified the opposite in front of Congress in May of 2023. The CIA was very much opposed to having any reference or inclusion of the Steele dossier in the intelligence community assessment. Brennan testified before the House committee, according to the transcript of his deposition reviewed by Fox News Digital. And so they sent over a copy of the dossier to say that this was going to be separate from the rest of that assessment. That's BS. CIA officials at the time of its creation pushed back against the FBI, which sought to include the dossier, arguing that the dossier should not be included in the assessment and casting it as simply internet rumor. Ultimately, Steele's reporting was not included in the body of the final ICA prepared for then President Barack Obama, but instead detailed in this footnote, largely at the insistence of FBI senior leadership, according to a review by the Justice Department Inspector General and later the Senate Intelligence Committee. But back in June 2020, Ratliff, while serving as Director of National Intelligence, declassified a footnote of the 2017 ICA, which revealed that the reporting of Trump dossier author Christopher Steele had only limited corroboration regarding whether then President-elect Trump knowingly worked with Russian officials to bolster his chances of beating Hillary Clinton and other claims. The footnote, also known as Annex A of the 2017 ICA, exclusively obtained by Fox News Digital in June 2020, spanned less than 2 pages and detailed reporting by Steele, the former British spy who authored the unverified anti-Trump dossier, a document that helped serve as the basis for controversial Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act FISA warrants obtained against former Trump campaign aide Carter Page. So they used this fake dossier and this fake information that had been bought and paid for as the basis and the foundation to investigate and go after President Trump's former aide Carter Page, which they did. Steele's reporting at the time was commissioned by opposition research firm Fusion GPS and was funded by the Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee, better known as the DNC, through the law firm Perkins Cole. The footnote made clear the internal concerns officials had over that document, so they knew it was bad. An FBI source, using both identified and unidentified sources, volunteered highly political sensitive information from the summer of the fall of 2016 on Russian influence efforts aimed at the U.S. presidential election, the Annex read. We have only limited corroboration of the sources reporting in this case and did not use it to reach the analytic conclusions of the CIA, FBI, NSA assessment. The source collected this information on behalf of private citizens and was not compensated for it by the FBI, it continued. But the annex notes that Steele's reporting was not developed by the layer subsource network. The FBI source caveated that, although similar to previously provided reporting in terms of content, the source was unable to vouch for the additional information sourcing and accuracy the annex state. Hence, this information is not included in this product. So right there. So the reason why Comey and Brennan are under the investigation criminally, this isn't some BS where they just coming in for a hearing. Criminal, because we now know that they knowingly took a document that was fake, fraudulent, created, and used it as leverage to spy on the Trump campaign. And then, as we now know, after that, they used that to start all these types of committees to try to impeach him, all types of stuff. And it stemmed from this, not to mention the sway of public opinion, which President Trump is still clawing. I mean, he's clawing it back, executive order by executive order, bill by bill, and it's happening. But it didn't have to be this way, and it wouldn't have been this way if it wasn't for those two political giants. When I say political giants, they're heads of two of the most powerful policing agencies in the world, or should I say investigative agencies on the planet. And that just shows even more the staying power of President Trump. You had the intelligence agency against you. And remember when Chuck Schumer said that they would unleash the whirlwinds and how President Trump going up against the intelligence agency would be to his doom and all of that. That's how you know these people hated that man. And that's how I know there's a higher power, because I'm looking at the things that's happening, the lives that's being changed, the bills that's being put out. And forget what the mainstream media and the fake news are saying. I can read and research, so I can see what the bill says, and I can do math, and I can calculate the benefit that's coming. I can see the world leaders bringing peace amongst each other. You can see it. And so I hope Kash Patel takes it to these two men and don't screw it up like they did the epilator situation. Don't come out and say you got a grand slam until you're at the plate. You see the ball clear as day, is right there within striking distance, and you know you got a great shot of knocking that bad boy out the park. Other than that, if you're just sitting in the car riding to the game, don't call a home run. Don't do that. because that's what Pam Bondi did and pissed off a lot of people. We want to avoid that this time. Am I right or am I right? So I just wanted to bring you that information. So when people are saying, oh, what are they doing? They're working. They're doing. But and remember, it's only 6 months, 7 months in, not even 7 months in. We're talking about 6 months into the administration. Still 3.5 years to go. But Trump has been moving so much like a freight train. Everybody expects that the administration can do everything at the same time. And unfortunately, he has to go through the big things, deportation, the economy. And as you see, piece by piece and person by person, the prosecutions are coming. So I have faith in it. So hope you do too. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this. Do you agree with these two men being pursued and potentially prosecuted? If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Most importantly, I want you to stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.